All right, so let's find a comfortable seat. Feel free to sit on a blanket or a folded up towel or even a yoga block if you have one handy. And I'll invite you to sit cross-legged, and if that's uncomfortable for any reason, then you can just make any adjustments you need, extending one or both legs out, or feel free to kneel or pop yourself up on a pillow or two. You want to feel comfortable for our seated stretches, but also be able to lengthen your spine as much as possible. And bring your weight equally across both of your sits bones. So just take a moment to check in and notice, is the pressure equal under both of your sits bones? And bring your shoulders to stack over your hips. That might mean drawing your shoulders back slightly, rocking back a little bit to let your heart lift along with the crown of your head. Take a long, steady breath in and a full breath out. As you exhale, draw your navel gently in toward your spine. We'll begin today lowering chin to chest, keeping shoulders soft, letting your gaze fall down to your lap or close your eyes. Unhinge your jaw and spend a moment just loosening up your jaw, moving it very slowly and gently, side to side, up and down. And then allow your jaw to relax. Your head is just starting to reach forward slightly to lengthen the back of your neck. You can keep your hands where they are, or for a little bit more, start to tent your fingertips and walk your fingers behind you, drawing your shoulders together on your back. Gently allow your breath to slow and lengthen. If your fingers are tented behind you, bring your hands back onto your thighs. Begin to roll your head gently over to your left. Just moving slowly. And you might even let your chin reach up toward the ceiling, allowing your head to reach back and to the left. Then we'll begin to roll the head all the way back down to the center of the chest and slowly make your way up the other side. So just explore your own range of movement in your neck, taking care of your own body and being mindful to move slowly, especially at the beginning of your practice, as we're just beginning to wake up these tissues and muscles. Keep your jaw soft. The next time your head comes to the left side, let's pause there. Just breathing here or bringing right fingertips onto the floor next to you. You can also explore walking right fingertips a little further back toward the wall behind you. That's just going to move where the stretch is happening on your neck and shoulder. Bring right hand back to right thigh. Gently lower chin to chest. And let's find our way up to the right side. Head reaching over to the right. Option to bring left fingertips tenting on the ground. And just exploring where you'd like those fingertips to be. Where does your neck need a stretch today? Continue to lengthen your breath. Bring your left hand to your thigh. Once more, lower your chin to your chest. Keep your chin lowered to your chest, and now you have two options with your arms. You can either bring your hands behind you and just hold opposite wrists or forearms behind your back, or you can interlace your fingers behind your back, clasping your hands together. Let's all draw the shoulders a little closer together on your back. If you're holding your forearms or elbows, gently start to lift your elbows into the air. If your hands are clasped, start to straighten your arms down toward the floor behind you, and then the option to start to lift your arms little by little away from the floor. Breathing to open up across your chest and your collarbones, engaging your shoulders. As you exhale, release your hands or your elbows to your low back, soften your shoulders, and then we'll bring the hands back around, resting hands on thighs. Sit up tall here, just letting the crown of your head reach up toward the ceiling. And take this time to make any adjustments you need. We'll be in seated a little longer, so if you need to change which leg is in front or make any other adjustment, go ahead and do that. Finding a really full breath, just allowing all those neck stretches to integrate. Using your next inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Option to lift your gaze as your palms join at the top. Let's exhale, press your palms together, draw hands down center. Two more with your breath, really circling from your shoulders, reaching long through your body. As you exhale, sit up a little taller, the crown of your head. From here, let's find a twist. So bring your left fingertips behind you, tent them on a block or the floor. Then inhale, reach your right hand up, sit up really tall in your spine. Exhale, twist to your left. You can bring your right hand onto your left knee, or maybe bring the back of your hand outside of your thigh. Draw your navel in toward your spine as you twist, keeping your belly a little bit engaged. Notice your right shoulder, and if it's popping forward, try to draw your shoulder onto your back so you stay broad across your heart. Use your next exhale to begin to unwind, and then bring your left arm across your body and just catch your upper arm in your right hand. Finding a little stretch in that shoulder, you can let your left shoulder soften down as much as you're able to. And then find a stretch to your degree, drawing your arm in towards your body. If you need less here, take more of a bend in that left elbow. And of course, if you want more of a stretch, reach your fingertips toward the right wall. You might explore adding on a little neck stretch here, beginning to move your gaze over your left shoulder. Let's exhale, gaze forward. Release your hand to the elbow and then lift your left elbow up into the air. Your left hand can just pat your own shoulder, just resting on your shoulder. Again, just moving into the stretch to the degree that it feels safe in your body. You can draw your elbow back in space and then slightly in toward the middle of your back, reaching your left fingertips as far down your back as is comfortable. Try to keep your neck long, so gently pressing your head back in space. And 2 more breaths here. Draw your lowest ribs in, find some engagement in your core. Using an exhale, slowly release. Let's just reach the arms out into the air and then down. With your inhale, sweep both arms back out and up. Exhale, hands through heart center. All right, let's do that series on the other side. Right fingertips tent behind your back. Inhale, left arm reaches up. As you exhale, twist to your right, bringing left hand outside right thigh, onto your knee, whatever's comfortable. Breathing here, broad across your chest, keeping your spine long. Feel your ribs and your shoulders twisting around your spine. Use your next exhale to begin to unwind from your twist. Right arm comes across your body, and then catch your right arm with your left hand for that shoulder stretch. Keeping your shoulders relaxed. Reaching right arm long, just to the degree that it's safe. An option to move your gaze over your right shoulder. Not forcing the breath, but just breathing in a little bit more with each inhale, pressing out more air with each exhale. Gazing forward, hold on to your right elbow, lift your elbow up into the air, and pat your right shoulder on your back with your right hand. Then gently guide that elbow back any amount or in towards the middle of your back, any amount. Gently engage your abdomen and breathe here for 4, 3, fingertips reaching down your back, 2, and 1. Extending the arms long, palms turned down, let's release. Inhale, sweep arms right back up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Join the soles of your feet together. You can create a diamond shape with your legs. So just have your feet close enough so you can hold on somewhere along your shins, your ankles, or your feet. Sitting up tall one more time, drawing your shoulders down your back. Let's find an inhale, just lifting your heart. As you exhale, reach heart forward, draw belly in, and gently fold over your legs. Your elbows might press lightly into your thighs if that's all right in your body, helping your hips to open. Use your next inhale to rise back to seated. Take your hands outside of your knees, guiding your legs together, and transition into a table pose. Make your way into hands and knees. And if you'd like to pad your knees with a blanket, then you can open it up across your mat. Otherwise, just set your blanket off to the side for now. Well, coming into tabletop, stack your shoulders above your wrists, pressing down with your palms and finger pads. Hips stack above your knees, and we're grounding firmly with the tops of our feet, toenails, starting to fire up the muscles of your body. Spend a breath or two here, just pressing, pushing down, helping your body to ground and connect with the floor. And then when you're ready, cat-cows. Inhale, lowering your belly, lift your gaze, finding an arch in your back. And exhale, rounding your spine. Tuck your belly in and curl your tailbone under. Inhale again, arching your back, reaching your heart forward. And exhale, rounding, pressing the floor away from you with your hands. Flow through a few more rounds, just moving with your breath. For the next 5 breaths or so, if you'd like to find any other movements from here, like swaying your hips or circling your hips, you can just explore what might feel nice today. How does your body want to move for a few free breaths? Make your way back into table pose. Make sure your knees are underneath your hips. And then tuck your toes under. Keep your hips where they are as you walk your hands forward for puppy pose. If you have a block, you might bring it to rest your forehead on. So hands walk to the front of the mat. Let your tailbone lift, your heart melt down toward the ground. And your forehead can either rest on a block or all the way on your mat. Create length in the sides of your body and draw your low belly into your body. Let's be active through the arms, broadening the shoulders. Start to lift your gaze. Walk your hands back in underneath your shoulders, and let's find a child's pose. So untucking your toes, walk your knees out wide, press hips back to heels or toward your heels. It's okay if your hips are lifted above your heels. Hands walk forward, let your heart and your forehead just melt down. If it's more comfortable, you can bring one of your cheeks down instead of your forehead. Inhale to lift your gaze. Stay in your child's pose, but tent your fingers and start to walk your hands all the way over to the right. So your hips are staying pressed back toward your heels, just to your degree. Just gonna get a side stretch here. Once your hands are as far over to the right as is comfortable, gently lower your forehead to a block or the floor. You can make this a little more active stretch with fingertips tented, elbows lifted, drawing your left hip back toward your heel. Or if you'd like a more restorative practice, just allow your body to relax again toward the floor, just over to the right side. Lift your gaze, tent your fingers, keep your heart low as you walk your hands over to the other side, reaching to the left and then bringing forehead back down. Lift your gaze, walk your hands back to center, and then gently make your way back up onto hands and knees, table pose. You can choose to stay in table pose today or find downward facing dog if that's fine in your shoulders. Tucking toes under, letting your hips lift. Press firmly into your palms to lengthen your spine. Tailbone reaches up and back. Then you might send your heels down a little bit more toward the floor, but feel free to keep a bend in your knees here if that's what allows your back to be straight and long. You might find some movement in your down dog. And if you're staying in table pose today, find some movement in table pose, more cat-cows, swaying your hips. From down dog, just let your legs move in any way you'd like. Your head can nod and shake. And let's come to a place of stillness, just hanging out in table or down dog. Using an inhale, begin to lift your right leg up and back. So if you're in table, just lift it straight up, parallel to the floor. If you're in down dog, reach your right leg high, heel reaching up toward the ceiling. Keep pressing firmly into both palms. Let's exhale, release right foot back down. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Lifting with your heel, your thigh. With your exhale, release left foot down. Let's all gaze forward and slowly make your way up to the front of the mat. We'll meet there in a flat back. So bring your feet hips width distance apart when you get to the front. Take a gentle bend in your knees, and then bring your hands up to your shins. Draw your shoulders back, reach the crown of your head forward. Let's find 3 breaths here, creating some length and strength in your upper body. Using an exhale, bend your knees even more. Let your belly rest on your thighs and then fold forward with your upper body. Your hands might rest on blocks or the floor. Keeping knees bent takes pressure off your low back. If it's comfortable in your body, you can straighten your legs any amount here. Keep your weight even between the heels and the balls of your feet. Perhaps shifting your weight forward slightly, noticing how your body just catches you there, holds you, the balls of your feet and your toes. Let your head nod, your mouth open, your tongue hang out for a moment. From here, begin to gaze forward as you bend your knees. Let's rock weight back into our heels. You can still rest your belly on your thighs. Sink your hips back and down, and then using an inhale, start to lift your upper body, bringing your arms straight forward, parallel to the floor. So chair pose here, just sinking those hips down. And let's find cactus arms opening across the chest. So bending the elbows, drawing shoulders together. If you need less at any point, just straighten your legs. And if you want a little more, sink your hips down lower, lift your toes off the ground. Gazing forward. Use your next inhale to push into your feet, stand tall. Hands meet overhead. Exhale, part the air, palms turn down. Find your mountain pose, spinning your palms forward. So just standing at the front of your mat, stacking all the joints of your body. So your ankles are holding your knees, holding your hips, holding your shoulders. Letting your gaze just soften in front of you or close your eyes. Using an inhale, sweep your arms out and up, joining your hands above you. Clasp your hands, pointing your pointer fingers. As you exhale, find a side bend, reaching up and over to your left. You can pull gently on that right hand, helping to lengthen the right side of your body. Let your head be an extension of your spine, the crown of your head reaching the same direction as your hands. As you inhale, reach both arms straight up toward the ceiling, gaze up. Exhale, part the air. Again, finding your mountain pose, letting your palms spin forward. As you inhale, sweep arms out and up. Interlace your fingers. Exhale, find your side bend to your right. Gently pulling on your left hand this time. Keep your neck long. Inhale, reach both hands straight up toward the ceiling, gaze up. Exhale, part the air one more time. Inhale, sweep your arms back up. Soften your knees. Exhale, swan dive forward, keeping a long spine. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward, bending your knees, plant your hands, walk or step your feet back into a plank pose, or you have the option to lower your knees to the ground here, keeping your belly engaged. Shoulders stack above your wrists, just like in table pose. Navel pins to your spine, lifting your hips to the height of your shoulders. One more long breath, broaden across your back. Using your exhale, gently bring knees down, Bend elbows beside your ribs as you lower your heart and belly to the floor. Roll over your toes, pressing the tops of your feet down. Let's slide our palms back slightly beside the ribs, hugging elbows and shoulders inward. Take a moment to rest your forehead on your mat so that your neck can relax, your neck can be long. And draw your shoulders a little further down your back. Then, using an inhale, begin to lift your gaze to just in front of you on the floor, keeping your neck long. Engage your legs, pressing your toenails down. And you have the option here to float one or both of your palms off the mat. As you exhale, let's release, bringing one of your cheeks down onto the floor. Send your arms down beside you, back of your hands to the floor. Three breaths, seeing how much you can allow your body to relax. Gaze down toward your mat. Walk your palms back beside your ribs, hugging your elbows and shoulders inward. Draw your shoulders down your back, strengthen up your legs. Let's inhale, cobra. Come up any amount that feels comfortable for you. Try to keep your hip bones down on the floor. As you exhale, float back down, bring your other cheek down, and let's rest the arms again. Feel free to let your hips rock side to side if you feel any tension in your spine. In your own time, plant your palms under your shoulders. Inhale as you push yourself back up onto hands and knees. And either stay in table or find downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Gazing forward, start to make your way up to the front of your mat. Bring feet hips width distance and inhale into a flat back when you arrive. Then we'll exhale, fold forward over your legs. Bring your fingertips down to your mat or onto 2 blocks or pillows if you're using some prop today for that support. Let's step the left foot back and lower your left knee down to your mat. So we'll find a lunge with the right foot forward, stacking right knee above right ankle, right toes pointing forward. Engage your thighs and engage your core. Using an inhale, lift upper body, bringing your arms up, biceps beside your ears. If at any point you need a rest here, you can let your hands float down and help to stabilize your pose by pressing down into your right knee. Otherwise, arms lift up, shoulders broad, palms turn toward each other. Find a single point in front of you to let your gaze just settle on one thing, help you with your balance. And gently keep hugging in toward your midline, imagining there's just this imaginary line going straight down the center of your body. You can draw all your awareness in toward that point. You have the option to join me for some movement here using your inhale. Bring your palms together. As you exhale, open your heart, bend your elbows, and draw your shoulders together on your back. So really broad across the chest, opening up that front body. Inhale, reach your arms up, lengthen through the sides of your body. If you want, join your palms. As you exhale again, opening across your heart, keeping your belly strong here. Keep moving with your breath. Inhales, reach your arms up. And exhales, open your heart. If you want, you might start to sink forward into that front hip a little bit with your exhale. And then inhale, pressing into front foot as your arms reach up. Exhale, you might open into your hips. Just find your own version here, whatever feels best in your body. Find one more. And we'll inhale, arms lift. Exhale, hands to heart center, palms together. So 2 choices for our twist. If you'd like to take a prayer twist, and that's available, from here, you'll start to twist your upper body to your right, and then work your left upper arm, elbow, on top of your right thigh. You'll press your palms together, stacking your shoulders and your elbows as you let your upper body start to twist. If for whatever reason that doesn't feel comfortable, bring your left hand down to the floor or a block under your shoulder and reach your right hand up toward the ceiling. So you can still find that same twist in the upper body. Let your gaze move to your right. And if you feel stable, you can start to float your gaze up to the ceiling. Find your center, engage your core. Using an inhale, slowly lift back up into low lunge. Then your exhale brings your hands back down to blocks or the floor. From here, we'll gently start to rock your hips back. So any amount here, this is going to create a large stretch for you, probably on the back of that right leg. So just move slowly, rocking your hips straight back, keeping them square. And then if it's available, you can come up on your right heel, let that right leg just wiggle side to lengthen so your hips can stay level, your hips can stay square with this leg extended. For a deeper stretch, flex your right foot, drawing your toes toward your shin. And you can play with where you want your hands here. Under the shoulders is probably the most stable. If you walk your hands forward, you'll find a deeper stretch. Let's start with a flat back, letting both your hips and your tailbone reach straight back as your heart reaches forward. And you might choose to stay here and breathe for about 5 or 6 breaths, or you can draw your belly in and continue to reach your heart forward and down toward your toes. If you folded forward, come onto your tented fingertips and let's all make our way back into a flat back. And then gently bend your right knee, plant your foot, and make your way back into lunge where we started with fingertips tenting around your front foot. We'll find our final pose here on this right side, a lizard pose. So bring your right arm and hand inside your right foot, and then just work your right foot out to the edge of your mat so your hips are open a little more. You might come down onto your hands or onto your blocks here, or even a firm couch pillow. It's nice to have a little more lift in the upper body because you can lengthen your spine. You might choose to keep your right foot planted and facing forward, or you might explore flexing your foot and then rolling to the outside edge of your right foot. Make sure you keep your foot flexed so your ankle and knee stays in one line. Lengthening your spine, heart reaches forward as your hips slowly sink forward and down. You can stay up on your hands, or you might explore coming down onto your forearms on the floor or onto blocks. We're just trying to keep the spine relatively long here, not a lot of rounding. Lengthening your breath. If you're on your forearms, start to make your way back up onto your hands. Once you're on your hands, you can plant your right foot back down on the floor if you're on the edge of the foot. And then let your hips rock back and just make your way into a table pose. Once again here, either stay in table or find a downward facing dog. And from wherever you are, let your right leg lift up and back. Reaching up with the heel, you might find a bend in your right knee and then start to open your hips, sending that right knee up toward the ceiling. Draw your heel in toward your glutes. If you're in down dog, press firmly into your right hand, helping to square your torso back to your mat. Inhale to straighten your leg and square your hips. Exhale, downward dog or table pose. Gaze forward and start to make your way back up to the front of your mat. We'll meet there in a flat back. Feet hips width distance, lengthening your spine. Exhale, soften your knees, fold forward. Bring your hands or fingertips down to the floor. This time, step your right foot back and lower your right knee down. So making your way back into that lunge, left foot forward this time. Stacking your left knee above your ankle, and of course you might have your blocks here at any height. Just make sure your shoulders stacking over your wrists. Engage your thighs and your belly. Using an inhale, gently lift upper body. Either rest hands on front thigh or lift your arms into the air, letting your shoulders be broad. Let's spend a few breaths here, just bringing awareness to that center line, that midline, and just hugging inward toward that place in your body. If you'd like to join in some movement, palms come together on your inhale. Keeping belly strong, exhale, bend the elbows, really open the heart. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, bend your elbows, squeeze your shoulders together. Inhale, reach up, option to look up. And exhale. And just keep going. If you want to incorporate your hips, start letting the hips sink forward as you exhale. And then when you inhale, come back up into your traditional lunge. Pushing off your front foot. Long breaths. Find one more round. Inhale, arms lift, palms meet. Exhale, hands to heart center. And from here, choose your twist. So a little less intense version is right hand down to the floor under your shoulder, left arm reaches up. The other option is our prayer twist from here with palms meeting. Start to spin upper body to your left, and then you can work your right elbow down onto or on the outside of your left thigh. And stack your elbows, your shoulders as you start to gaze to your left. Feel your legs and find your center, engaging your belly. As you inhale, try to lift back up into your low lunge. And then exhale, hands float back down to blocks or the floor, framing your front foot. Gently start to let your hips rock back. Straight back till your right hip is above your right knee. You might want to walk your hands back too. And you can stay right here if this is enough of a stretch for you on the back of your leg. Or you can just work that left foot forward a little bit, maybe come up onto your heel and just wiggle your leg to lengthen it out. First, let's find flat back, letting your hips draw straight back, crown of your head forward, heart reaching forward. And then if you'd like, you can start to fold more over your leg, bringing your hands down to the floor. Let your attention just ride lightly on your breath. Make your way back into a flat back, fingertips to the floor or hands to blocks. Lengthen your spine. And very gradually find your way into a lunge, bending left knee, planting your foot, walking your hands back to frame your left foot. And then lizard pose. So both hands come to the inside of your left foot and walk your left foot out to the very edge of your mat so you have even more space for your hips to open. You can choose here to keep your foot planted or flex your foot and then just roll to the outside edge of your foot, letting your knee open to the left. You can find your own version of this pose. Just start out by lengthening your spine, reaching your heart forward, eventually lowering down any amount if you'd like to, coming onto blocks or down onto the floor with your forearms. If you're on your forearms, make your way back up onto your hands. Plant your left foot back onto the floor. Let your hips rock back any amount you need to swing that knee back underneath your hip. You can move your blocks off to the side and we'll find table or downward dog, whatever you prefer. From wherever you are, inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Just reaching up with the heel, lengthening your legs, and then bending left knee. Try to open your hips up, reaching your left knee higher toward the ceiling. And if you're in down dog, press firmly through your left hand, squaring your torso. Straighten your legs, square your hips. Release back to table or down dog. I'll invite you to move through a vinyasa of your choosing. You might choose knee plank with knees down or full plank, shifting forward. As you exhale, you can lower all the way to your belly or halfway down, keeping elbows bent beside you. Roll over your toes for cobra or upward dog with your thighs strong and off the mat, heart lifting. Exhale back to table or downward dog, letting your hips lift you up and back. 5 final breaths here or in your child's pose. As you exhale, gently lower your knees down and then make your way around to seated and find your blanket or your towel, whatever you have today. So I'll invite you to open it up till it's about the size of a towel or a little smaller. And you'll make a long, skinny roll by rolling your blanket or towel up the long ways. I'm going to offer this heart opening, chest opening pose. Helps to just spread apart our shoulders. It's really great if you've been doing a lot of sitting at a computer. So place your roll in the center of your mat, and then just make your way around to seated, facing away from the roll, and scoot yourself right up against the end of that roll with your knees bent. When you're ready, begin to lower yourself down so the roll lands along your spine and also supports your head. Your arms, you can find cactus arms or just let your arms reach out to a T next to you. And choose any variation here for your legs. Now, most supportive for low back would be walking your feet out wide and then with your knees bent, letting your thighs knock together. You could also extend both legs long and just find Shavasana on top of your blanket. Or if you'd like another hip opener, let the soles of your feet come together and your knees just fall out to the sides. Soften your gaze toward the ceiling. And notice if there's any difference in your breath with so much space and stretch happening in the front of your body. If you'd like a little stretch for your side bodies, you can reach your arms overhead and hold opposite elbows above you, letting your arms just rest on your blanket. And begin to count your breathing here, seeing if you can bring an equal length to your in and your your inhale and your out breath. Maybe 4 or 5 counts in, 4 or 5 counts out, or even a little longer. About 1 more minute here. If you'd like any other variation with your legs or arms, you might explore something different for our final minute here. From wherever you are, bend your knees and plant your feet on the mat. Bring your arms down if they're overhead. And gradually just let yourself roll off your blanket to either side, and then reach one hand behind you and just push your blanket out of the way. Coming onto your back once again, keeping knees bent. Draw your knees up into your chest and take your hands around either your thighs or the front of your shins. Start to draw your knees out wide, opening your hips a little bit, and rock side to side across your low back. Feel free to let your head rock side to side too. If you'd like to reach up and grab your feet for happy baby, you can feel free to do that. Feet reach up like they're going to step on the ceiling. Hold on to inside or outside of the feet with your hands. And start to draw your knees out wide down to the outside of your rib cage. You can find movement here as well, or explore extending, lengthening through one leg and then the next, maybe both legs. Let's draw knees back into the chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Start to squeeze everything in towards your middle. If it's okay in your neck, lift your head and shoulders. And squeeze yourself into a tight little ball. Closing your eyes, you can scrunch your face up. Draw your heels in close. And then slowly release and make your way into Shavasana, finding your resting pose. Lying flat on your back if that's comfortable, with arms and legs outstretched. Or you might roll up your blanket, bring it underneath your knees for some added support for your spine. Walk your shoulders down away from your ears, really bringing those shoulders down your back. And even walk them together slightly underneath you, opening up across your heart and the front of your shoulders. Arms out wide, palms turned up toward the ceiling. Reach both of your heels forward, just lengthening legs. And find a gentle tuck of your chin. Let your head rock side to side, massaging that spot on the back of your head. Until you find a perfect spot for your head to rest. End your effortful part of your practice today just with a big sigh, drawing in one more long intentional breath, filling up your belly, ribs, and chest. And then open your mouth and just let it all go. Bring your attention lightly back into the present moment. Just sensing this quality of relaxation in your body. Noticing what your breath is like. Observing the quality of your thoughts. As you're ready, wiggle your toes and your fingers. Circle your wrists and ankles. Unhinge your jaw and let your head rock side to side. Reach both of your arms overhead. Bring your feet closer together and find a long stretch, taking 2 or 3 full breaths. When you feel ready, draw your knees into your chest and roll yourself over onto either side. And slowly, keeping your head down, your gaze relaxed, begin to push your way up and find a comfortable seated pose. And you might take the time to bring your blanket back underneath you so that you can sit up tall in your spine and feel how your back supports you, your spine like a column, is strong and tall, keeping you upright. Let's join our palms together, resting thumbs at heart center, lowering your chin forward. And I invite you just to take a moment to say thank you to yourself. Thank you, self, for taking the time to do this self-care practice today. And I hope you'll all receive my gratitude as well. I appreciate you so much for being here. It's lovely to share this practice with you. Namaste.